Good evening, bus fans. I'm taking a few minutes because I had a conversation with one of the people that was working on the fence last week. And just the update on that is now that they've done the framing, I guess the walls can wait till whenever because they've just stopped working on it. They didn't do a damn thing to it all week, and they've got all 7 buses. He was out there today. He had 5 of those buses running. It's all backed against the line. It's all the exhaust is 50 feet from my door again. Everything that was there about, when I started this project is there even worse. Plus now they're starting to park the Gaster little buses on the line too. So there's a full 7 buses on the back line. I got nothing but yellow and tail lights and exhaust pipes in my rear yard. So I get half a house. Because anytime I look out my damn back window, I'm looking into a truck stop. That's just the way it is, and nobody gives a shit. So I'm going to get a little rude about this because the individual that was welding on that frame on that fence, I was out near my garden starting to till, wanting to get my work done, minding my own business, and he makes a comment to me about, gee, aren't you going to be relieved finally when this fence is done? And I said, you know what? I just don't think you can understand how bad it is to have them start them buses up at 5:30 in the morning and have them idle all morning until 7 o'clock. Pointing at my door, I can't wait for the fumes to be gone. You just have no idea. And he looks at me, he stops, he pauses, and he looks down at the ground and kicks his feet. And this is when the lights started going off in my brain. Because I was looking at his truck and stuff like that, and I'll get into that in a minute. He looks back up, nods his head all official like. That's what they like to do around here. It's a cowboy thing, I guess. And, anybody that thinks that they live here thinks they're a cowboy, even though they're the spawn of rich people and their hands handle the cattle. These kids go welding or whatever, or ride their 4x or do whatever. That they didn't do anything but work hard. But that's my opinion of that. But anyway, he looks up, he says, well, I'm the local diesel mechanic. Okay. Well, I just wanted to let you know that in all that time of him running them buses and making sure they're warm and making sure I said, you can stop right now. Because I don't care what he has to do, I know about it. I live here. Well, I'm just saying that in 23 years, we've never had a diesel motor into our shop to repair. And I'm the local diesel mechanic. I said, he's also a diesel mechanic. He's also the paid diesel expert. I know this whole storyline, dude. I know his bio. I've studied him. I know more things about Leroy than you possibly know. He says, oh. So, and this is him. So, you understand why we start those buses, right? I said, I'm trying to get some work done here, but humor me. Well, Ernie, or the morning guy, comes in and starts the bus, and he starts all the other buses. That way all those buses are nice and warm for the kiddies. So, okay. No, I get it. That makes sense. You get nice warm feet. They've been idling here in the motor pool and all that. They're all warmed up, and those kids get to walk into a nice warm bus. That'd have been nice. Gee, I wish my bus drivers would have done that in Minnesota as I was a kid, because they never did that. And in the 13 years that I drove bus in Minnesota and North Dakota, I never did that either. Because when I go to a motor pool and start a bus, especially on the morning run when it's coldest time in the morning, I usually have to drive all the way out to the farthest point of my route and pick up my first child and work my way back in. And that usually takes 35 to 45 minutes to get there. So what am I doing that whole time while I'm driving out to the first pickup? Am I running my air conditioner? Are my windows open? The point is I've discovered something over the weekend and over this week that I've thought a lot about, because I've even had some discussions with some other locals. And I just realize now, after being here for 7 years, how naive I've been. I'm just now beginning to understand how radically this area protects its citizens. We have other people that we know of. They really don't call them friends at this point. They had discussions with us about, you knew people. It was like, What's this new people shit? We've owned this property for 5 years. We've lived here for close to 7. But we're newbies? New to what? I possess a DD-214. I defended this nation for 4 years of my life. I served this nation honorably. And I'm awarded. I have Army Accommodation Medals. I don't have the battle stuff because, unfortunately, I served in peacetime. And they did their missions as training exercises. So we didn't get credit in the press. Because back in the 80s after the Vietnam War, and the 70s after the Vietnam War, the last thing American moms and dads wanted to hear about was their sons getting shipped off to some jungle and shooting at people. So we called them training missions, and we kept them out of the press. Not shitting you. War and that did not become popular until we had to invade Afghanistan and Iraq. And even then, after the first Iraq insurgent, or because it really wasn't a war, you know, we went through this occupation thing and it all slid back, but not until Afghanistan and not until after 9/11 did the thank you for your service really start out. Because whenever I traveled in airports when I was in the military, I always had to wear civilian clothes or I got spat at. So anyway, that was my world. But I'll get back to the subject. I'm tired of the bus officials telling me any lie that they need to hear. They don't even think about what they're saying. Really, I mean, why would you need to idle a bus for an hour to an hour and a half to keep a kid warm? You've still got to drive 30 minutes to go get that kid. It makes no sense at all. So, and then it hit me. That white truck that they drive with the welders in the back, that stays parked in the bus building, by the way. You know who owns it? I do. The Reamses do. It's Reams Construction Equipment. So is the second white service vehicle with the toolboxes and the utility bed. They're both stored in the far garage at the end of the property down there. They bring in 3 or 4 vehicles, and I swear to God on a Bible, there's a 56 Chevy in there. Blue and white. That he works on. Because what Leroy does is sitting there all weekend and all week when he flies away from his home because his family hates him out in Dove Creek, and spends his time in this garage building on his equipment, working on Reams construction equipment and tooling around with Reams projects. 4 summers ago, he had a Reams dump truck in the school lot for 6 months, working on it, retooling it, rebuilding a motor. Because he does both jobs, and he will work here on school property on Reams County equipment with those guys. I've seen them in the shop before, and that's when it hit me. Looking at the service vehicles, then I noticed the second mechanic, and then I recognized the other guy that comes around. He's the one that sprays the back line that I always bitch at the city about because he's always spraying my property. He's got like a foot into my property sprayed with weed killer, and nothing will grow there anymore. So this year I have to watch for him and catch him because he doesn't work for the city. He's a friend of Leroy's, or he's a Reams, and he's doing it voluntarily. So this is the kind of stuff that I face. So I at least know now who I need to bring into lawsuits. So I'm happy about that. But, you know, I'm just letting you know that the line continues. The backing up continues. They're not going to finish that fence. They're not even going to think about it until next year now. Trust me. They only got 2 weeks of school left is what's in their brain. And they ain't got to finish nothing. I'm telling you. So, and they had conversations that I overheard them. They're out there, and I'm literally standing behind them by 30 feet, and they're talking amongst themselves. The female bus driver who lives down the street, and the scrawny guy that was telling me that stuff. They had this conversation about, you know, in a way, we can't wait for you to get the fence done, too. Then we can go back to the idling, and everything will be back the way it was. It's not going to stop. Why do you think I bought drones? Because regardless if there's a fence up or not, you idling that school property in a residential zone for more than 5 minutes for diesel and more than 1 minute is still illegal. So I'll be recording that next year. So keep making your cute plans. I've already played chess with you, if you know what I mean. So I'm a retired dude and I've got a damn good education. And I'm sure you're sitting there calling me a woke son of a bitch, whatever you want to do. But move the buses. That's the solution. You're wasting your time and your money with this fence. And by the way, the fence is already leaning over from the weight of the frame that you tacked onto it. So when the siding goes on or whatever you're putting on for the fencing, it's going to lean even further and tip over. That's going to be real entertaining. Have fun. Have a good night. Bye.